And Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. This is caught. Diggs. Sideline. Touchdown. Unbelievable. Bryant for the win. Bang. Watch out. He's got getting away from the top speed. By Michael Short.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of our Rams rebuild series on Madden 24 here on the Sim Gaming Network. Hope you guys are enjoying this series and this content that I'm bringing you right now. I am just gonna show you guys our roster after final cuts and signings. We have made it through the preseason. As you can see, I did not start Matthew Stafford or Cam Akers in any of the preseason games. I kind of wanted our other guys, including Trey Lance, to get as many reps as possible. And so right now you can see where I'm setting my depth chart. It's going to give you guys an idea of what our team is looking like, and how we're going to try to handle some of these challenges going forward. I also did not start either Cooper Kupp or Van Jefferson. Again, there are two best wide receivers. I didn't want anything to happen to them in the preseason because offensively, we aren't very talented. Our running back isn't anything special other than Cooper Kupp. We don't have much special at the wide receiver position. We have traded away Tyler Higbee for draft collateral because he was on the final year of his deal, 30 years old. We were not going to be able to afford to bring him back anyway. We did go ahead and make a trade at tight end. If you haven't already seen that video, we went and got Isaiah Likely to replace Tyler Higbee at tight end, and we're going to give him as many reps as we possibly can to try to develop him. He's a younger guy, but as you guys can see, offensively it's going to be rough for us. Matthew Stafford, only a 75 overall. He's 35 years old, which is why we went out and got Trey Lance to try to have an option for the future. And we didn't start any of those guys. We didn't get them extra preseason reps. We honestly wanted all of our old vets, including Aaron Donald, to just kind of rest and let the younger guys get that extra playing time and experience so I could get a good idea of who I wanted to keep on the roster and who I wanted to either cut or potentially move on from, depending on their contract situation. And that's the big thing that we're going to struggle with, is contracts like Joseph Noteboom right there. He's only a 73 overall, but his contract is horrible for that rating. We're kind of stuck into it. But one thing you guys will see as we're going through and setting our roster, our offensive line isn't too shabby, but we're going to lose Cam Akers. He is an 81 overall, which isn't bad, but it isn't great either. And we're not going to have the money to bring him back with all the cap jumps that we have going forward in the next season. And so I'm going to have to make a decision, by the trade deadline, if I want to try to trade him and get something for him. Obviously, it won't be too much because he's on an expiring deal. So I don't know. Teams aren't going to give us the value that they probably would if he had 2 or 3 years left on the deal. But something's better than nothing. And so that's something we will have to explore at some point in the season. I did also, if you're seeing here, I signed Clelin Ferrell and Robert Quinn just because our defensive line is so bad outside of Aaron Donald that I wanted to get some veteran players in there to give us a little bit of a pass rush, which we do not have. And these guys are more, they are pass rush, which will help, but run defense, we're really going to struggle, especially when you get past the front three and you get to our linebacker core. Our front seven outside of Aaron Donald is just pitiful. And we're going to have a tough time slowing down teams because they can just double team Aaron Donald, and then we don't really have anyone on the edge that can win a one-on-one or create pressure, and then our linebackers aren't very good. We don't have any good corners, so I mean, it's just going to be really a challenge to slow teams down. We're going to have to try to control the clock and control time of possession and just minimize the amount of possessions the CPU or the offense, the other team can get. It's just going to be challenging with the lack of offensive weapons. don't have a lot of good wide receivers. We have a young tight end. Cam Akers isn't great, and Stafford isn't what he used to be either. So we're going to face some challenges. That being said, we did go and sign Greedy Williams, Tavon Young, and Caden Stearns in the secondary off a practice squad just to kind of get a little extra depth, because we don't know if we're going to be able to bring back John Johnson III. He's about to be a free agent, and I don't know if we're going to have the money to do it. Jordan Fuller we're potentially going to lose as well, which is why I grabbed Ronnie Harrison Jr. I always liked him, and he can kind of step up and play a linebacker. Went and got Aldris Rosas and Matt Teresa, just because they're better than what I already had, and they're guys that I like. So, but just a couple things to kind of go over with you guys. Potentially going to have to look at trading Cam Akers and Van Jefferson by or before the trade deadline, simply because they're on expiring contracts. We're not going to be able to bring them back, and it'd be nice to get something for them rather than nothing. We might have to look at some other players too, like John Johnson III. If we're not going to be able to bring him back because of contract and money, go ahead and try to get something. Even if they're late round picks, 5th or 6th round picks, the draft is very deep this year in my franchise for the defensive side of the football, particularly defensive line and linebackers. And so that's where something, we could strike gold even in those later rounds with some extra picks with how deep that draft is. So definitely an option, but as you guys can see, it's just a very rough roster talent-wise and cap-wise. It's going to be tough. But that's why we're here. We want the challenge. We want to try to see what we can do to build this team and turn things around. And we might not be able to do that with the likes of Aaron Donald or Cooper Kupp still on the roster. Those players might have to be moved so we can free up some cap space and go get some other talent. However, I am pleased that we have a decent offensive line, so if we can just run the ball effectively and control the clock that way, we should be okay. But if a team takes away Cooper Kupp, I don't know what we're going to be able to do to get people open and push the ball down the field. So anyway, guys, that is just this quick roster recap. As you see the depth chart, this is going into week 1 after all the moves we've made as far as our cuts and then our signings from the free agents and practice squads. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little video of what our team looks like and are looking forward to the next episode, going over gameplay and how the season's going. But until then, man, stay tuned to the next video. Peace.